Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Gigi Report. I'm your host, Godfrey Gichuki. We're glad you tuned in. This is an exciting discussion as always. Please, those of you that are tuned in, following us from the social media platforms, make sure you share the links and connect your friends to this conversation, and welcome to the show today. The subject of our discussion this morning, today, wherever you're watching from, whatever time you're watching, is the Hustler Fund, the financing the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector. That's the subject of our discussion. I have a very important guest on the set. Welcome, Mr. James Mureu.
Thank you very much, Gigi.
Very good to have you here, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Without a doubt, yes.
Absolutely. Very nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know very well, the new administration was elected on the premise that they would allocate sufficient resources to empower the micro, small, and medium enterprises and stimulate the economic growth from the bottom up. You know that famous bottom-up story. So, the question that remains is how this strategy will be implemented. And my guest is here to talk about that and to help us understand what's going on. So once again, I welcome you to the Gigi Report. As always, the Gigi Report is a platform for big, bold, honest conversation on a broad range of subject matter, social, economic, philosophical, theological, and everything in between. And today we're going to be having a business conversation. So let me introduce our guest very briefly, and then I'm going to ask him to talk about himself. My guest is Mr. James Mureu. He's the chairman of the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority. This is a state agency whose mandate is to empower micro and small enterprises. And this organization has been running for the last 12 years or plus. And his organization has the mandate, has been named actually as the implementing agency for the Hustler'S Fund. So that's good news for those of you that are looking for where the funds are going or where they're going to be domiciled. So I have the man here. So if that money disappears, the man is here. So you call me, I will link you up to him.
I will disappear too.
And he's saying he will disappear. If the money disappears, he disappears. So and that's a very good thing, Mr. Mureu. So Mr. Mureu is a former vice chair of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So he has a very good experience in matters to do with commerce and industry in this country. He runs his own business, and Mr. Mureu earned his Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from the University of Hartford in Australia. So, Mr. Mureu, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Gigi.
So I want us to begin from the beginning. I know I've given a small brief of your career, but I would like you to share with the audience briefly introducing yourself and how you got to where you are right now.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Gigi. And first of all, thank you for having me. I know this is a conversation that is now very, very hot in the air. And I'm glad I'm able to share what the little that we know about the this so much spoken Hustler Fund.
Yes.
Which by no means is not the complete fix to the problems we have in this country.
Okay.
But briefly, as a person, my name is Mureu, and I am 62 years old.
All right.
To the public, let them know. And I have been in business for quite a bit.
Okay.
I've worked in different institutions. I work for the central bank. I've worked in Australia. I've worked around the world. I've been up and about. But most important is the fact that I have this feeling for the lowly people.
Right.
Having grown up in Kangemi, which to most people, when we moved into Kangemi, it was the place to live in.
Right.
Our neighbor, believe it or not, was Moses Mudavadi.
All right.
The mayor used to live there. Charles Rubia was our neighbor.
Right.
The Wamwangis, the director of Voice of Kenya, Daniel Gashengo was our neighbor. There was the Mulandis. So Kangemi was once upon a time the place to live.
Okay.
In terms of the suburbs that were there. Unfortunately, what happened thereafter is there was a lot of subdivision of the plots into small units, and Kangemi is what it is today. Right. The population is very high. Yeah. And the facilities have not changed much. I feel sorry for that, and I hope the new governor will actually address that, because it's become a problem in terms of the environment that people live in. And when we are talking of quality of life, that has been much of Governor Sakaja's conversation, he must start addressing that kind of situation. And so after that, then, as I said, at one time I left this country in 2000. The year 2000, I left and went to Australia for about 5 years. Okay. First of all, finished my studies, and then also did some business there, and then came back and continued. And at that time, I'd left Central Bank. Right. And so I just decided to go into business, and I really enjoy just doing business. Okay. And if you ask me what businesses I do, there are many and varied, and so that's a subject for another day.
We go there.
We'll be here for a very long time. Yes. But I think for me, the most important thing is a year ago. Yeah. This month, actually, a year ago, I was appointed to head the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority. Yes. Apparently, before that, I was a board member of the Business Registration Services Board, which is under the Office of the Attorney General. Okay. I was also appointed to the National Cereals and Produce Board. Okay. Now, notice, whether it is what I call good incidence, not coincidence, it's good incidence, because I'm in an area where I'm serving the very common person. Yes. Very common person, by way of business registration, for example. Everybody wants to. And the problems that we found in BRS were so many that one of the main achievements, and this can be tried out, is we automated a lot of processes in the business registration service. Yes, and removed the human face to this registration process. Yes. Which was largely frustrating the lower cadre of people who don't know anybody. Yes, exactly. So we decided you don't need to know anybody. Yeah, get onto your computer, get onto a cyber cafe, and sort yourself out. And let the computer speak back to you. Okay. If there is anything that needs to be done. Absolutely. We also sorted out a lot of internal staffing issues, and then I exited from there when I was given this position as chair of the Micro and Small Enterprise by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, the former. And that is where now trouble. That's where you are sitting right now. That is where I'm sitting, and that is where the heart of this country. That's a small. The sort of the forgotten cornerstone. You remember the story of the stone that the builder rejected? Absolutely. This is the cornerstone of this country. I remember growing up, we had a geography teacher called Mr. Moti, who used to say, boys, he used to come in the class and say, boys, let me tell you, agriculture is the cornerstone of this economy.
All right.
And we used to think, oh, agriculture. And everybody was saying agriculture is not very fancy.
Okay.
Now I can tell you today, without a shadow of doubt, the micro and small enterprises authority, the space is the cornerstone of any economy in the world.
Absolutely.
Leave alone this country alone.
Okay, that's true. That's true. And Mr. Mureu, actually, that's absolutely true. And then, of course, this government was elected on the promise that they're going to make sure that that sector of the economy is properly empowered.
Yes.
Properly empowered. And I think, so perhaps what you can do is, you can give us a little bit, given that you've been heading the agency for the last chairing the board, the last 1 year.
Yes.
I'm sure you understand what are the nitty-gritties.
Yes.
What the mandate, maybe you can share with us the mandate, and then, and maybe perhaps why the president, or rather this particular fund is probably best administered through your authority.
I'll tell you, thank you very much, Gigi. The mandate of the authority is really to connect resources and markets to that bottom of the pyramid.
Okay.
Now, when you hear the president talked about bottom up, really, if you look at a pyramid, the bottom is the broadest part of the pyramid. The pyramid sits on the broadest part.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Now, that is where I see it as well. That is where I see it with close to 16 million people who are all in that strata of bottom of the pyramid.
Yes.
That is where you have the Mama Mboga, the Soko, the Boda Boda, the Jua Kali, you name it. All the hustlers, the hair saloons, the barbers, they are all my children. I have 16 million children.
Oh,
they are many to look after. And the needs are many and varied.
Absolutely.
So, and when you have so many children like that, you're constantly looking for resources.
Yes.
Because to feed 16 million children is not easy.
Absolutely. It is not easy.
It's not an easy task. So, one of the challenges that the sector has had is exactly what the president is addressing right now.
Yes.
Funding. Because for a long time, again, I go back to my statement, the stone that the builder rejected turned out to be the cornerstone. The one that you really need to make sure that you start the next wall is that cornerstone.
Yes.
And so, the president then realized that, because for a long time, from the time I went in there, one of the things that was lacking was resources.
Okay.
And we have a document that sits in the former CS Okuri Attorney's office about the MSEA fund, Micro and Small Enterprise Authority Fund.
Okay.
And initially it was supposed to start with a seed amount of about 1.5 billion.
Okay.
Which was dodgy, and I was very conscious of the fact that when I accepted this appointment as the chair of the board, one of the strengths that I was bringing to the institution was the fact that I can mobilize resources.
Okay.
Mobilize resources for the institution.
Okay. Okay.
However, just like today, if you want to mobilize resources, even for the church, what is the first thing that you need? Is an account.
Yes.
A bank account. Because people would rather pay into account. They say, write a check to Gigi. People start doubting. You say,
to
write a check to, or James Mureu is inakuwa na shida.
Yes.
But here we said we need an account.
Okay.
Micro and Small Enterprise Fund account.
Yes.
Which needed to have some seed capital.
Okay.
And that is all I had been asking for.
Yes.
And for the 1 year that I've been in office, there is not once or twice or 3 times or 5 times that I've persuaded the National Treasury to plant in some seed capital for us.
Okay. So
that I can then go out and resource and say, put that money in this account.
Exactly.
That is where the problem was.
Yeah, and James, while you're on that, actually, the other thing that it would be very helpful to tell our viewers is the fact that, like when we see the government has this budget and the president goes out there, you hear they have signed up some bilateral agreement and some funding program or something like that, or even partner countries that want to inject help,
Yes.
you know, and just support us.
Yes.
So there has to be some structure
There
around
has to
which.
be.
So if somebody decided to give us $1 billion,
where will you put it?
Exactly.
In your account or my account?
yeah,
That is where the problem was.
Yes.
So this micro and small enterprise fund was supposed to be initiated by government.
Yes.
It had regulations that then will tell us how that money can be used. But more importantly, it will then enable us to free us to go and resource and look around for funding. I'll tell you what sadly has happened. A lot of other people have sprouted, carrying a briefcase written SME. It goes to these private people, masquerading around the world, calling themselves private sector MSC representatives.
Yes.
And they'll go to this institution, get funding for MSCs, even concession funding, GG, at low interest rate. But it never reaches the target group, i.e. the bottom of the pyramid.
The Mwananchi.
Yes, it goes back to the banks, and the banks have been notorious for this. I'm sorry, I'm saying this, they will get to hear this, but that's the truth.
Yes.
I want to know a bank that is on lending concession funds at less than 5% in this country. And yet they have been given concession funds at 1 or 2%. Then they take it straight to 14 or 15%, meaning the target group is left out.
Absolutely.
So that is where the problem is. That whereas there is an authority that has been established, there are many people who walk around with briefcases calling themselves this SME, this SME, this SME. They go, they cry out to the friendly donors. They get money, they come to their banks, even microfinancing institutions. They all go and collect money on behalf of the Mwananchi.
No, they go.
But nobody, and I would like to challenge the banks or anybody who has collected money, concession funding at very low interest rates, and is on lending at lower interest than 5%. At a 9% you won't get. They are all double digit. And that's why now the president in his wisdom has said that this Hustler Fund, once it is injected, it's going to be, he said, he pronounced himself, he's going to put in about 50 billion. 50 billion will not solve our problems. But it will certainly be a seed that we can build on. It's a building block. And we can go around now and consolidate all these other funding into that kitty and redistribute to the deserving people. There are also commercial loans that are available to those who can afford. Who don't want to queue for this. But the Hustler Fund is going to really be targeting the very needy part of the society. Allow me to say this, Gigi. If you look at the bottom of the pyramid, where the majority of these 60 million people sit, they need security. They need healthcare. They need good roads. They need good building, living environment. They need to bring up their children. All those basic needs are there. Then you must ask yourself, that pressure that is applied to the government in that bottom of the pyramid by people who are not necessarily contributing in quantum amount to the need that they have, in and itself puts the government under a lot of pressure. So my view is, if these people are empowered, and the Hustler Fund, and I'll share a bit of what I know, it's still not very clear, but after the CS and the PS are sworn in, we've had meetings with the nominees, the CS nominee Chalugui, where the cooperatives and SMEs are housed under. We have a draft proposal on how it's going to be carried out. It is going to be concretized once we have a proper meeting with the CS nominee and the PS, and then we develop a way forward. But suffice it to say that, whatever happens, we will be reaching out to the bottom of that pyramid, empowering them through circles, through table banking, through money that circulates within them, and empower them to the extent that they can start contributing to the national development by way of paying taxes. You cannot tax somebody who has nothing to pay. So once we have empowered you, Gigi, today if I came and gave you 1 million shillings, once a year kiosk, you start your beauty salon or whatever it is, if I come back a year later and you are doing well and I say now, lipa ushuru kidogo, you will be happy to pay. But I can't ask you to pay when you are almost living from hand to mouth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. And indeed, as you describe it, most people who need, let's say, like $1 million shillings or less to fund their businesses.
Yes, small businesses.
Obviously at a loss, because
Yes.
most of the time, the fact that you actually need, say, like 500,000,
Yes.
perhaps also means that they don't actually have the capital, the collateral
Yeah.
to be able to persuade a financier. So, of course, one of the questions that will arise as we pursue that particular issue is how you're going to ensure that you're actually not creating a scenario whereby people think they can walk in there and walk out with money and say bye-bye. And then later on, even if you lose the money, no, those guys are just generous. The president promised us money.
No. Far from it.
Yeah. So I think even if the structures in terms of the administration of funding is not in place, I mean, technically the policy has not been published, you don't expect to give away the money for free.
Of course, it's not going to be free. There's nothing like free lunch. It's actually going to be a single-digit interest.
Okay.
Single digit. The president has been very clear about this. It'll be a single-digit interest, and most probably will lower it so low that the banks will now have to look for a way of reaching us.
Okay.
Remember, there's 16 million of us out there.
Okay.
And what I wanted to say is very, very important, is the fact that, when you talk of security and collateral for funding, Gigi, there was a time Barclays was giving unsecured loans.
Okay.
You just go with your payslip. In fact, most banks had started giving unsecured loans because you have a payslip that says you earn X amount of money, you can go and get unsecured loan.
Yes.
They ended up losing a lot of money.
Okay.
All those banks lost a lot of money because they were giving Gigi, you're employed.
Yes. I have a payslip
that
50,000.
says 50,000 and net salary 35,000 after deductions. So you have 35,000. They say this one can afford to pay 300,000. So here is 300,000. Immediately you're given that money, it's unsecured.
Yeah.
But you start struggling because first of all you're not borrowing it for business.
Yes.
So you go, you put a nice sofa set in your house, put a gate, put all the maridadi, mama gets some new things. The house is kitted up.
Yeah.
300,000 gone.
Yes.
End of month, what's your disposable income after deduction of 10,000? Drops to 25,000.
Yeah.
Now you are struggling to live within the 25,000.
Yes.
So they put more people in trouble by giving them unsecured loans without any purpose.
Okay.
They also failed to give my carpenter, the Gichuki carpenter there, or the Gichuki fellow.
The guy who makes the beds,
Yes.
which all these people are buying every day.
And who has a reliable or a likelihood of earning something from the investment. Those ones are asked for collateral. Collateral is the work they're doing, but nobody listens to them. So what this hustler fund is going to unlock mainly is the fact that the hustlers can actually access to this fund without necessarily having a collateral, but they have a plan. A plan to execute some business of sorts.
Okay.
So you'll find if they get to us, most likely it's going to be, because I've seen the references to the Hustler Fund, they are quoting the Act of 2012 that established the Msme Fund. So likely there's going to be an interface of the Hustler Fund, the Msme Fund, one over the other, and then Hustler Fund will happen.
Okay.
The most important thing is to remind everybody that this will not be free money. You walk in, you walk out.
Yeah.
You have to have a plan.
Okay.
It is a business loan.
Yes.
It is a loan that you're going to pay at low interest.
Okay.
It is important that everybody gets that. It's not free for all. When you come with a plan. You've got to be in an organized structure of sorts.
Yeah.
Just for purposes of clarity, there is actually a registrar of micro and small enterprises in my authority.
Yes.
That sits with us at Utalii House on the 10th floor.
Yeah.
And whose work is to register these organized groups, so that the first people who will be beneficiaries of this will be the people who are in an organized, structured way.
Okay.
Who are already registered,
who have registered themselves with the organization.
Yes, exactly. Whether you are an individual or an organization of groups, That's neither here nor there.
Okay.
But it's important that you are known. Of also greater interest is to allow people to know this truth.
Yeah.
That it will be a requirement now
Yeah.
for us to locate Gigi by a GPS coordinate where we are saying, register with us and we'll know exactly where your business is, so that even when we give you the money, we will have a monitoring and evaluation program where we are looking at the impact of this money once it's given to you. It is not money you went and had a party in your house and it's gone, because we want to know exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
And watch and monitor your growth, literally incubating you through your business. And we would like to get, if you look at our business card,
yeah.
it actually shows an arrow showing somebody who is progressively climbing up.
Yes, yes.
That is what we would like to see. The micro and small enterprises, you grow from micro to small to medium, and then we release you to now commercial facilities wherever you can get them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
While we are on that, there's okay. So there is, for example, I think maybe one of the things you could clarify. We have had the Kenya Youth Empowerment Program.
Employment program. Yes. Yes.
Employment program, and I think yes.
Yes. Yes.
And they have a funding facility.
Yes.
And I know, like for example, because of the cutoff of what is a youth 35.
Yes.
I remember a friend of mine who applied, and you know, I think they were applying for something like 1.5, and I think it was approved or something like that. But there were small hitches that perhaps were a little bit maybe unnecessary in terms of, yeah, the fund has been approved, but the people working within the system are not really efficient enough. They are not customer, friendly. You even wondering why are they, they have approved, why are they not transferring the funds? So I do hope that, and maybe you can speak into this, and we can speak into it later as after the break, how the organization, your institution is organized, the human resource capacity and the operational efficiency. That may be a challenge because many state institutions seems to have this kind of like all of them default into bureaucratic, very difficult organization to get value out of. So how are you going to deal with that?
Gigi, I'll tell you, currently, even the way KEOP, for example, which is the Kenya Youth Empowerment Program, that is being ran by Msme, it is very disjointed in the sense that you apply to the ICT Youth Ministry, they process you come to us for resourcing. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's that disjointed process that has been causing a lot of pain.
Okay.
I believe when this Hustler Fund is rolled out, we will have overcome all those bureaucratic tapes.
Okay.
Where we are saying, you come to the Hustler Fund, whether it's in Msme or wherever it will be domiciled, and it's a one-stop center.
Okay.
You present yourself there, present your business plan, present your proposal, whatever it is, whether it's refinancing yourself, and you're dealt with at one point.
Absolutely.
The inefficiency was brought about by the fact that Adam applies to Beatrice, and Beatrice then has to send the application to Charles, and Charles has to get David, and then the process of getting back to Adam. It's a long process, there's no doubt.
Absolutely.
But we shall those are not insurmountable obstacles. What is important is to get the funding in, and then we put structures and systems that will make sure, and the president has been very clear about this, that it will make sure that we impact the bottom of the pyramid.
Okay.
Yes.
We are going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're following this conversation. And when we come back, we're going to continue with that conversation, part of the conversation, how you can also participate in this funding program and benefit from it. So don't go away. Take a short break. We're coming back shortly.
Elevate TV offers you wholesome content that refreshes, empowers,
learn to receive the love from God.
inspires, edifies,
We are active participants in the work of salvation.
connects, and elevates the truth in the spheres of family,
Read your Bible, pray every day.
governance,
We are in a fragmented political party state.
economy, education,
Let me look for the material that I need to pray for my child with.
business,
You have to match your passion, you have to match your skill.
and religion. Watch the latest Christian movies, documentaries, live programs,
Where is the place of the voice of God when you have 10-year plan?
If you are standing on the rock, that is Jesus Christ, that is the word of God, by the end of the day you'll stand.
conferences, and church services that will edify and entertain your family. Tune in live on all free-to-air digital decoders on Pang Channel. Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Welcome back. This is the Gigi Report. We are having a very interesting conversation today. We are talking about the Hustler'S Fund, how to finance the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector. And my guest is the chair of the Small and Medium Enterprise Authority. So actually, he sits at the heart of that whole conversation of funding the small, the micros, the entrepreneurs, the small and medium enterprise sector. So before we went to the break, Mr. Mureu, we were talking about the systems, because there are other similar funds, and I think you have clearly described that there are obviously administrative challenges, which perhaps will be, and one of the aim is to make sure that those, the efficiency in actually rolling out the fund is addressed.
Yes.
And you sit there. So we trust your good leadership in ensuring that happens.
Asante.
And I'm sure you're committed to that. So, but then we also want to address ourselves to another issue.
Yes.
Assuming that funding is a problem that is going to be addressed.
Yes.
We know the Kenyan entrepreneur has many shades and colors.
Yes.
And there are many other problems within the, within the. So if the fund is there, perhaps there will be other problems. So
Yes.
I want you to speak into, apart from funding, what is the next biggest problem plaguing the SME sector in Kenya?
Thank you very much, Gigi. I'll tell you, funding is one, but it's not the only problem.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Yes.
There are many other issues that relate to that space. Because, you see, first of all, if you look at the hustler is the most hardworking, most innovative person that we have in this country.
Yes.
They know how to manage their hustles.
Yes.
They will go around their problems and come out with a solution, irrespective.
Yes.
The biggest problem I see is, particularly with the youth, is inconsistency, inability to apply themselves, and a lot of presumptuous behavior. They assume a lot of things.
Okay.
So you find, if, for example, a fellow wants to start a butchery, and he'll come, get funding, 40,000, 50,000, start your butchery. But he's not looking at the butchery as a stepping stone to the next level. Instead, he starts looking at Gigi and saying, first of all, I want to drive a car like the one Gigi drives. I want to live in that suburb. You know, the only thing you start from the top is a hole. they don't have that. And I've referred you to our card where it's progression.
Yes.
From a small butchery, then you can own a few more butcheries, then you can own an abattoir, then you can be a meat distributor. You know, you climb up the ladder.
Yes, exactly.
That is why it's a bottom up. You start from the bottom going upwards.
Okay.
A lot of them would rather start at the top.
Okay.
And most probably then come down. So it is important that we first of all establish incubation centers, because the difference with this Hustler Fund is also it's going to have a component of training, because you're going to train whoever it is that is asking for these funds. We want them to understand some basic accounting. We're going to incubate them. We're going to monitor them. We're going to evaluate their progress. And I want to give my own example. When I did a bit of business in Australia, I borrowed some $10,000 from the local bank, the ANZ bank. And you know what, Gigi?
Yes.
For some reason, for the period that I was paying that facility,
yes,
the manager of ANZ Bank, we used to operate in a place called Victoria Market,
yes,
of Peel Street.
Yes.
Always would end up in my shop. And he's not there monitoring anything. You just say, oh, James, I was within this vicinity. I decided to just pop in.
Yes.
Pop in, and he finds me there, running my hustle there and sorting out whatever it is that we're doing with my wife in Australia.
Yes.
And then I would go and say, listen, my stocks have run down. I need a bit of more funding. I need $10,000 to build on stocks. And he would happily give me. But again, he would end up within my vicinity and walk around the shop, and look around. But really, you think he was there by accident?
No.
He was deliberately leaving his office
to
come and see what is happening in my business.
Yes.
So he would be there. And he would walk around and say, oh, yes, I can see you have a new one. This, I like this. I like this. Oh, okay. How's the coffee doing? You'd interview me. But basically, he's also watching my banking vis-a-vis the stocks that I said I was increasing. So his purpose is not accidental.
Yes.
It's very deliberate. To come and just see, did this guy put in $10,000 worth of stock? Or he went around mangering?
No.
So
or he sent it to his relatives in Kenya.
Correct. So now, that is what has largely been lacking.
Yeah, okay.
Institutions have given people money, the hustlers money, but they don't actually bother to find out whether this guy. And then the worst thing is, if you borrowed, say, 50,000 to start your butchery, and it's now picking up, and the orders are increasing,
yes,
and you want to go and borrow another 50,000 to scale up your business, they will not come back to find out how your business is doing. Like my manager used to walk around as if he's just by accident.
Yes.
They'll tell you, no, first finish paying what you borrowed, you're over borrowing. They don't actually understand the pain of trying to scale up.
Okay.
So you find you might be needing just a little push over the hill so that you can start going down nicely on your own.
Yes.
That little push up the hill is what a lot of hustlers lack.
Okay.
They lack that little, you pushed yourself to there, now you need a little push, and then the rest will be as a downhill ride for yourself. So those are the basic things that really we are looking at. And that's where the Hustler Fund is going to be different from the Youth Fund, from the Enterprise Fund. Because those ones you just go, collect money, give you a story, and you go. And
maybe
perhaps monitoring and evaluation.
Yeah, and perhaps you can also, speak into it in the sense that other countries have similar programs almost everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere you've been in with the Chamber of Commerce, I'm sure you've traveled
around the world
broadly.
Yes.
So do you think that if Kenya, we really put our act together, we can just be as good as everybody else?
I can tell you, the sky is not even the limit.
Yes.
Our own inability to apply ourselves is the limit.
Okay.
Mark my words. People say the sky is the limit. Me, I change that, and I'm saying Gigi's ability to apply himself to a situation is the limitation.
Okay.
So the youth sometimes also, the other problem they have is this laid-back attitude. Even they are given that money, they are not taking that very seriously sometimes, and it becomes counterproductive for them. So it may be wise for them also to wake up to the reality that this country needs them. We need the youth. I'm beyond now my youthful years.
Yes.
So we need succession planning as a country. And so it is important that we continue empowering this. We continue hand-holding. I have a program I run with some young entrepreneurs. I have about 20, now there are about 27 mentees that I run through. Okay. I hand-hold them around. There's one who's making charging cables. Total Science is making these phone charging cables. Another one who is very innovating is actually making robotics. I've got young men who are doing exploits, and I'll probably invite them. Okay. I'd like to come and sit here with them, and you listen to them, and you'll be wowed, Gigi. You'll be wowed. I can send some of them to tell their stories. There's young Felix Chege, who is doing some serious business around. Okay. And he's actually taken the marketing of Kenyan products beyond the Kenyan border. Okay. And he's setting up warehouses in different countries. And they are telling Bidco, we are not interested in marketing you in Kenya. We want to take you to Rwanda, to take you to Lubumbashi in the DRC or Malawi or Zimbabwe. Yes. And now anybody who is producing here just means you scale up your production to be able to meet that demand. Again, maybe the other problem, and I don't know how far that is a problem, where, you know, when a Kenyan say like he's running his business, he succeeds, then they begin to take away the resources from that business and begin to fund something else. Yes. That's typical Kenyan business. When you are chicken business is doing well, you start matatu business, and you're not good in matatu business. Okay. Your chicken business was doing well because you are committed to the chicken business. Okay. When you make a little bit of money, it's called putting good money after bad projects. Okay. Absolutely. Just keep your chicken business. There is somebody else who's going to run matatus, and who can run matatus better than you can. So just concentrate on one business that you're able to do well. Okay. Yes. And do you feel like, for example, in terms of, okay, maybe you can speak into, there are two things. One is the role of other training institutions, whether they are really preparing young people sufficiently. That's an open question, and there are many theories around it. The other one is the incubation program. I think incubation itself as a strategy, it's not very well understood in our market. Maybe perhaps you could speak into that. How are you going to do incubation, if at all? That would be almost mandatory, by the way. Okay. In the sense that whatever funds we're giving you, it's not money that you go and do what you want. Okay. You've come with a plan. We must follow the plan to the end. Okay. Okay. So that is very important. Second thing that I would like to say here is the institutions that are there, and I know that the former President Uhuru Kenyatta set up this recognition of prior learning. If you look at our Gichuki fellows who are good at welding, you know, boxes and making all these metal products, or our carpenters who make fantastic furniture, or our masonries who really just masons who do good masonry work. All those guys have a God-given gift. Yes. They are good fundis. They are good carpenters. They are good masons. Yes. But they don't have certification. Okay. So what is going to make a difference now is there is also a partnership we have with the TVETs and high schools, you know, institutions of higher learning. Yes. Where they come, Gigi is a welder. He's actually taken through a trade test, just a practical test. And a master welder then assesses your skills. Okay. And gives you a certification. And what that does to you is life-changing, Gigi, because if you look at the Chinese and all these people who are coming to do these big projects, they don't speak Chinese to you. They speak to your papers. They look at your papers. Yes. If you're a certified carpenter, then you'll get the carpentry work. But if you come and say, me, I'm very good in carpentry without any paper, injured. So that recognition of prior learning and skilling and certifying skills is going to be a game changer for this country. Okay. Because then you'll find, for example, when the Chinese were building the FGR, they needed welders. Yeah. They looked around. They could hardly get 400 welders in this country. Because those were the only certified welders. They have gone polytechnic, they've done a course, they have a certificate. But how many welders do we have in this country, Gigi?
and I like the story, your mentorship program, you know, what you're describing. Could you please just break down for our viewers, some of our viewers, when they hear incubation, they say, that's those things those guys are doing there in those big offices in Nairobi. So,
far from it.
Yeah, so please clarify for us what incubation is.
Gigi, incubation really is not the way you have actually described it. There is no building called a business incubation center.
Okay.
What they used to be, and I remember that, it used to be there a long time ago, there used to be business centers, and they're going to come back, by the way.
Okay.
Business information centers where you can go and they offer you, if you are looking for, say, for example, these IT fellows,
yeah,
they can be incubated physically in an environment where they are allowed to grow and then grow out of this facility into their own.
Yeah.
We have a facility in Kariobangi South called the Kariobangi Center of Excellence.
Okay.
Where we have incubatees that are supposed to be there for 2 years.
Okay.
Where we give them a facility under the Msea.
Mm-hmm.
If they are doing Gichuki business, if they are building furniture, and I would like you to visit that Center of Excellence and see some fantastic things happening there.
Okay.
But if we incubate them there for a period, those are very specific requests that they have nowhere to work from. They have a facility that they can use to grow their business, and beyond which, once you outgrow the small space, then you go out now and be on your own.
Okay.
While you're in that incubation center, then we are able to keep a tab on what you're doing and where you're struggling, and we have trained people who can actually manage you to navigate through this process as you grow your business, particularly the startups.
Okay.
But the incubation then I'm talking about is virtual, where you are running your own business, but you have a programs person who is paying attention. Like if I go back to my old story, my manager was actually quietly incubating my business.
Yes.
He was paying attention to the details of my day-to-day operations.
Okay.
And he was marrying what he sees in the shop with what he's seeing in the bank.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what am I saying? Have I increased the stocks? Yes. If I've increased the stocks, then it means my sales then must start showing that through the bankings that I'm making.
Okay.
And so it is with the sort of incubation program I'm talking about.
Okay.
I can further maybe even break this or rename it into a mentorship program of sorts.
Okay.
I've said I've got some youngsters that I
You're
mentor,
mentoring and
I play the same role. I watch them. They have challenges. If they want to go to KEBS and they know nobody and they want to get some mark of quality,
yeah,
I work with them.
Okay.
I've actually literally walked to various Skippy where I advise them to protect their businesses. You know, these youngsters, sometimes they run past the ball.
All right.
So you tell them, wait, don't just expose yourself, because what you have is an innovation here that needs to be protected. So here, let's go to Kippy, let's get that IP in place. Let's go to KEBS, you need to legalize. Have you got your PIN? Have you got your all the other required certification, your VAT? Are you registered? Have you got a bank account? And you walk them through that.
Okay.
That is the sort of thing that we're talking about. You incubate them through that initial process.
Okay.
And then we don't let go. Like my mentees, I keep constantly chatting with them. And that manager who occasionally goes to their business and sees what they're doing.
Okay.
They're very innovative. And I would like, Gigi, we'll have a bigger conversation here.
Yes.
Then you will be amazed. I'll give you only 2 of them.
Okay.
And I will want them here, and you have a conversation with them.
Absolutely.
And they're going to wow the whole country.
Absolutely.
I'll give you Felix, I'll give you a young Somali boy called Tak. He's doing furniture, fantastic furniture. In fact, what our incoming CS, Moses Kuri, has said is, he has every intention of making it very difficult to import furniture.
Okay.
Then you start seeking local
alternatives. Supply alternatives.
And they are enough. They have scaled up their production. I must say this also. As micro and small enterprises, we also have another function where we build what we call constituency industrial development centers.
Okay.
And at the moment, we have those facilities in 177 constituencies around the country.
Okay.
These centers are common use facilities where we build and equip a center where if you are a furniture maker and you want to come and get a nice table like this done, you go into there with your legs to shape them nicely, pieces, you just use modern equipment,
yes,
shape your table and then go and fix it outside there.
Okay.
We have another one for cutting metal. Instead of going around with your hacksaw blade,
yeah,
you have a machine that just cuts metal for you very quickly and you go and make. We have ones that can shape metal.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in a big room and it's common use facility. And it's important for people to appreciate.
Yes.
It's a government program that seeks to empower the Gichuki fellows, the guys at the bottom of the scale. You go, use the machines. There are welding machines. There is also spray painting machines. You come when your car is prepared, drive it into a booth, modern booth, spray paint, get out. The next guy brings his, and so there are these things that are there.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I think clearly, we have all the ideas. We have a lot of wonderful initiatives. Perhaps maybe as we wrap this up, is to maybe I'll ask you what subsector within the small enterprises that you think that could add the greatest value. You are a high school teacher. We're going back to the conversation we started. Said that agriculture was the bedrock.
The cornerstone.
What is the cornerstone? Yeah.
Yes.
So, given a lot of things have changed, what's the most important subsector within the SME that you think that we should be paying so much attention and where there is greatest value overall?
Thank you, Gigi. You know, the recent billionaires that have come into the world,
yeah,
have been tech-based.
Yes.
You know, digital tech-based.
Mm-hmm.
The next billionaires are going to be agri-biz billionaires.
Okay.
The food requirement around the world globally is ever increasing.
Okay.
So the people who are going to go into agri-biz value addition, so that no longer are we going to send 65 kilogram bags of tea,
yes,
unprocessed to Britain. Then it's brought back here as Twilings, as Lipton, and it's Kenyan tea. There is no one bush in UK.
Yes.
Of tea. But they export, they're the biggest exporters of tea and coffee because we sent our unprocessed tea and coffee out there.
Absolutely.
So my call is to the youth,
yes,
to look and refocus their eyes to the agri-biz value addition.
Okay.
That is where the next big thing is happening.
Even if you're doing chicken, you should be thinking about how you package the chicken legs and straight to the supermarket.
Correct. And that is why, if you look at AGOA, and I must say this to the youth.
Yes.
The African Growth Opportunity Agreement with the US,
yes,
has 6,200 products that we can export to the US, duty-free, quota-free. Let them go and find out what are the opportunities in AGOA.
Yes.
If today you decide, and you know there was an argument the president brought out very, very clearly.
Yeah.
And he said, every day we are exporting day-old chicks, 1 million day-old chicks to Uganda.
Yes.
They're asking for day-old chicks.
Yes.
But shortly after that, they want to export eggs to us and we are saying, no, they're exporting too. Why can't we do it here ourselves? Why can't we keep the million chicks here, make them into full chicken and we become egg exporters? If we can't do that, then we must accept the reality that the egg coming from Uganda is much cheaper than what we are producing here.
Yes.
It's a 10 bob
we can't fight out.
Selling.
Yeah, we can't fight out our Ugandan brothers.
Now, and the president gave a very good thing. He said, export what you are exporting here. Let's import the cheap eggs from Uganda. Even milk, if we get,
yes,
let's export our milk elsewhere.
Yes.
And let's import eggs and thingy from Uganda. They are cheap.
Absolutely.
So we need now to look our eyes outwardly. And one of the other primary important roles that we play as Msme is market linkage. So my role as a chair is to constantly look for opportunities to market our products out there. And that's the biggest thing that we have.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can imagine we've run out of time,
Wow. Okay.
James. And, it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
I think we have explored this subject. I know we need to come back to it.
Yes.
And take the conversation forward. But that's all we had time for. And thank you very, very much for coming. You're busy man. And we truly appreciate it.
No,
I'm sure the church folks will be very, very happy.
This subject is so close to my heart. I cannot emphasize the importance of a sector that, by the way, contributes 25% to GDP and employs 85% of our labor force. Is under the SME.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the conversation. That's all we had for you today. And thank you very much for staying tuned in. I've been your host, Godfrey Gichuki. This is the Gigi Report. We'll come back to you every Friday evening, 8 p.m. So keep watching Elevate TV and keep it here. And God bless you. Have a good evening or good morning, wherever you're watching from. Bye for now.